You're tuned in to the Vintage House Show, home to the original stories of the history of house music as told by the legends, pioneers, and icons. Hosted by Kevin Mega McFall, Lori Branch, and Lauren Lowry.
Make some noise for yourselves. Woo. So our first panel on this side is the Played and Paid strategies for monetizing music and promoting successful events. And so our expert panel is going to talk about valuable insights on making money by creating, performing, selling music, establishing business entities, marketing their creations, and getting booked for events. So we are booked and busy with this panel. Whether you're an aspiring writer, music producer, DJ, event promoter, publicist, musician, or just simply interested in the business of house music, this panel will outline practical strategies and tips to thrive in this competitive landscape. So we're going to get started with some bios. First, I want to introduce our moderator. So please welcome Jacob Arnold, who is yes, clap for our moderator. I actually had Jacob on my house music radio show last week, and that was so much fun, just hanging out, chopping it up on the airwaves. So Jacob is a Chicago area music journalist who has written for The Wire, Resident Advisor, Red Bull Music Academy, The Chicago Reader, The Guardian, and Wax Poetics, among other publications. He founded his website Gridface in 1999, and he will be moderating our lovely panel today.
All right, our next panelist is
Asya.
Asya, yes.
I knew that was coming. Used to that.
Asya Shine.
Ukrainian, proudly.
Yes. Give it up for Asya. All right, all right. I think you need to do a little better only because she flew in all the way from Los Angeles. So.
And I brought the weather.
That's what's up. Dedication to this thing we call house music. Asya is the founder and the publisher of Fusicology, a renowned lifestyle platform and boutique agency with curated calendar listings and news for the global soul music community. Since 2003, the Hub has served the niche house, hip-hop, R&B, and jazz scenes in over 20 markets, commemorating this year the 20th anniversary of Fusicology. As a digital marketing entrepreneur, cultural curator, and event producer, Asya has been a part of the Prince tribute, Miles Davis's birthday celebration, and she's the co-producer of the J Dilla Fest and various other Grammy productions. Give it up one more time for Asya.
All right, and our next panelist, Dom Brown, is best known for starting a legendary party that continues to inspire and influence today. With the sound that blends the best of Afro house and tech house, Dom Brown has earned a reputation for electrifying performances that keep the crowd moving and grooving until the very last beat. I know that's right. Drawing inspiration from the vibrant and diverse music scene in Chicago, Dom Brown has honed his craft over many years, becoming a master at reading the crowd and selecting the perfect tracks that keep the party going. Whether spinning at an intimate club or a massive festival, Dom Brown knows how to work the room and create an unforgettable experience for all who attend. With a passion for pushing the boundaries of house music, Dom Brown has opened for some of the biggest names in business, including Green Velvet and Black Coffee. His unique sound and infectious energy have earned him a dedicated following of fans who eagerly anticipate each and every performance. Dom Brown has made an indelible mark on the industry, and his influence can be felt in all music he plays. With a commitment to innovation and a deep love for the music that he plays, Dom Brown is sure to continue inspiring and entertaining audiences for many years to come. So, please give it up for your panelists and moderator for Paid and Played.
Thanks. Those were her words, not mine, by the way.
We also wanted to call out that in your chairs as you joined us, there is a survey. we're going to ask that at the conclusion of the panel session that you do take a moment to complete the survey, and we appreciate all of the feedback you'll provide over the course of this evening's sessions. And it is anticipated that we may have one more panelist joining us. So buckle up and let's go.
Great, yeah, welcome everybody. So just to start out, I wanted to run this question by both of you. What are some things an artist needs to establish as they get started?
Okay,
selling?
wait, hold on.
Hold on.
Hold up.
Scratch the
Joe.
record.
Joe's in the building.
Yay.
Please welcome to the panel Joe Smooth, DJ, producer, label guy, my friend, and it's good to see you, man. Traffic, right? It was a beast. 2 words, promised land. Back over to you, Joe. Jacob.
No problem. All right, yeah, so I'm going to start down at Asya's end. So what are some things an artist needs to establish as they get started selling and performing music?
Well, I'd like to start out by saying it's easier now than ever to do so as an independent artist because almost every service is free and easy to use. So even 5 years ago, I feel like WordPress was difficult, Squarespace was weird, everything, Linktree didn't exist, there weren't smart links to the DSPs. There's so many things that didn't exist that are now available to people. And I feel like you can do it all on your own. You don't need managers or agents or even an assistant or anything to help you out. I feel like you can start out by, taking small steps and not ever feeling overwhelmed by, I have to complete the website all at once. I have to do this. I need a bio. I need all of these things. I do feel that there's ways of doing things that are so simple and easy these days that it's quite frankly refreshing because if you're an independent artist, you no longer need all of these support systems I feel like you needed even just a few years ago. So I feel like take the plunge, buy the URL, get that site up, and just kind of flow with it and build your career up, not too slowly, but definitely surely.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, thank you. Dom, I'm going to throw the same question to you. How would someone get started in this industry?
Well, I mean, the answer is in the question. It's just to get started. A lot of times we put things off to the next day or we say we're not ready yet. The best thing that you can do for yourself as an artist is to take those small steps, do something towards your craft daily that's going to be impactful for where you want to be. But one thing about, today and becoming an artist today is that it's so easy and a lot of people rush to market and they're not ready. And you really only get one opportunity to show what you have before people make up their minds about you. And so it's important that you take that time and you hone your craft and you understand what your image is going to be. And you want to create a full 360 around whatever that artistry is that you're going to be or that you want to put out there. You want to be able to show and prove exactly who you are and how you want to be perceived. So take your time, make small steps, but take intention before you just throw yourself out there.
Yeah, great. And Joe, what advice would you give to an upcoming artist?
So my advice would be to be organized. So, it's just good to do research. You've got your social media platforms that you can deal with. You got, your Spotify's, your Bandcamps, your DistroKids. But I think what you need to do is kind of understand where you want to be, where you want to go, and do the research to find the trail that you should take. Make notes. Organization, I think, is really key if you want to get out there, so that you create a strategy from your starting point to, set goals. In 3 months I want to do this, in 6 months I want to be here. Understand your path. Do the research to figure out what that path is, and apply yourself and keep applying yourself towards that.
And can I just add one thing on that? Just never compare your path to anyone else's.
That's a good piece of advice. Joe, I'm going to stay down here. So I know you've opened your own clubs. So just on the flip side of things, like how do you promote an event and get artists to work for your event?
How do you, one thing I've always tried to do is always stay outside the box, but make whatever that talent is appealing to the audience or whatever audience you're trying to attract. I think what you do should always be an experience as opposed to, like, you know, you see a lot of people do nights at clubs, and but what makes that club memorable? You know, when we opened up the warehouse on Randolph and Halstead, one thing I wanted to make sure of that it had a crazy sound system. So I had a disclaimer at the front door that said, if you have a pacemaker, if you're pregnant, if any of this stuff, do not come here. You know, and every space was like a musical. You know, Mike Dunn was playing, Armando Gallup at the time, Glenn Underground. All your DJs that you're seeing out here now were playing at the warehouse, and it's always been. I've always looked for the people who can give people like a musical journey, because like I said, I think it being an experience is what is really important, what really makes it memorable, and it makes an experience that people want to come back to.
Yeah, hear that. And I know you've also promoted a lot of events. Can you field that question as well?
Yeah, absolutely. I always start with creating something that I personally want to go to. I think that's one of the key things, you know, is creating. One of the most popular parties that I'm known for is Porn and Chicken, and those are two things that I thoroughly enjoy, which made it so easy to promote. But at the same time, what I always try to include in any event that I do is I like to ignite every single sense, because the taste that you had there triggers a memory. The smell that you had there triggers a memory. The sound, you know, what it feels like. Those things are what people draw back to, and whenever they hear that song again, they go, remember that night at Porn and Chicken, or remember that night at Smart Bar. So you always try and have a little bit of an element there that excites that sense, you know what I mean? Whether it's a fire performer, or it's music that they haven't heard in a long time, or maybe you're baking fresh cookies, or whatever it is. And you always have to ignite those senses so you can trigger that memory and you can create a forever follower. And then on top of that, you got to think outside of the box. Yeah. Because now more than ever, people want bang for their buck. They do not want to buy a ticket and go stand in a dark room and just listen to music. They want to be immersed in whatever it is that you're creating. And nobody wants to feel like they're going to a cash grab. And the way that you avoid that is by creating something that you want to be at, because you're the person producing it and you're the one having the most fun.
Just to build on what you guys said, that the three things that come to mind is definitely consistency.
Oh, yeah.
I work with Marcus Wyatt from Deep in Los Angeles. A lot of people know him, and he's just super consistent. He's been doing pretty much the same thing for like 30 years, and people kind of know what to expect. They know it's going to be a vibe. They know the sound is going to be good, and that is very, very important. I used to manage Ron Trent. He would leave if it didn't sound right? He just wouldn't play. So there's people, and I can accept that. You know, it was a little hard as his agent back in the day, but I dig where he was coming from, you know what I mean? And so there's that, and then also attention to detail. So, you know, from your host to your door guy to your artist liaison, like you said, no one wants to be in a dark club, especially sort of post-COVID, wherever we're at right now. But you know what I mean? It's like people want their bang for their buck, and I also feel like people are over bottle service and like the velvet rope, like it's corny. Like even Vegas is getting more soulful, believe it or not, like even those kind of, you know, mainstream markets. So I think there's that. And the last point are partnerships. You know, the same people, the same door guy that I've been working with, I think since the late 90s, is still working with us in LA, you know? It's this sort of partnerships and consistency, and I think that also, when people come in, they feel that. They know the people around them.
Yeah, and to piggyback off that, I think, you know, I missed that, but community is a huge part of creating an event. Like you don't go into somebody else's house and not take your shoes off. You know, so if you're creating something that is in a market where there are people that have come before you and opened the doors for you, it's important that you pay homage to those people. It's important that you reach out to those people that are curating that scene and you try and work with them so that you look like, you know, you will not look like, so that you're actually creating community.
Yeah. Yeah, I would say also with that is, right, it's like family, you know.
Yeah.
The people who went to the warehouse on Randolph are the people I think you mainly hear about like as house heads, you know. And that's a whole community of people, and everybody knows each other, you know, and it's still going on now. So that was the 90s, so, you know, we're in 2023 now, so.
Yeah, crazy. So Dom, what are some ways that artists and promoters can market themselves and their work?
I'm a big fan of like guerrilla street marketing. You know, I think like anything that takes someone's breath away, anything that's avant-garde, anything that's against the norm, that's where I go. You know, I still believe in wheat pasting. I still believe in like performance art. I still believe in different ways of promoting things rather than just sticking to, you know, diluted Facebook ads or Instagram ads. You know, you got to get creative with the ways that you're promoting whatever it is that you are putting out there. And a lot of things that I think are overlooked is some of these like creative partnerships with major liquor brands or major sponsors that can help you get that out there. But I always move towards collaborating with different artists or different people that can help me spread that word rather than going to the traditional whatever. And I always still get down on a good handbill, you know? Something that hand-to-hand like situation, that connection still is like a real invite. People really feel that when they get a bill on the outside of the club and you say, hey, I know that you dig this music, I would love to see you there. You know, that for me has always worked, and I still love that.
Great. Yeah, I know we're jumping around a little bit, but Joe, can you speak to sort of what you would do to book an event as an artist? Like, do you work through a booking agent? What are some of the technicalities of it?
So I typically, I guess there are a few different ways. So a lot of the stuff that I get as far as bookings and stuff is actually word of mouth. You know, people who've enjoyed events that I've done before, and so they'll tell this other promoter, oh, book Joe because, you know, it was what kind of party it was. It was a great party, you know. And then you have situations where I do have agents who will like send me leads as far as people contacting them and saying, hey, is it possible for you to contact Joe and book him for an event? And then third, I do my own events. You know, one thing is I'm a big supporter of self-growth, you know. Yeah. So, you know, even starting out as a DJ, when I originally started DJing at a Smart Bar back in 1983, right? So all the other DJs, your Farleys, you know, Jesse Saunders, everybody else was DJing on the South Side. And I was like, I don't want to DJ on the South Side, I'm going to find something else, you know. So instead of trying to compete with them, I just created my own lane, you know. So I still stick to that today, you know. So like in August, I have an event in Malta, you know. It's just something I'm putting on with some collaboration with some people. And it's me, I have Paul Oakenfeld as the headliner, you know. And then a million other DJs, but it's something different. And like I say, stand outside the box, something different. It's in the Mediterranean Sea, you know. So it should be fun, and I stick with that. I stick with just trying to create my own situations. You know, like people will get you know, investors and people behind them to do events in Chicago, and probably I'm spending the same amount of initial funds to do the event in Malta that I would be doing here in Chicago. So it's just, you know, like I say, getting outside the box. I think more globally as opposed to, you know, limiting myself to what's available right in my backyard, because there's so much other stuff, right, you know, that's in so many other ways to make things happen.
Yeah, expand your horizons.
Expand your horizons. Yeah. Even like this summer, going outside the box, outside of the club thing, me and some of my partners, we all got a boat that holds about 500 people, right? So we can just throw house parties out on the lake, get void sound systems, you know, nice, it's 3 stories. Take the parties house parties into the lake, off the land, you know, outside of the club environment, you know.
Well, Asya, I know you talked about DIY, so how important is it to work with a publicist or a PR firm these days?
I'm going to get in a little bit of trouble, but I don't think it's as important as it was before. I like to use the example of the Chosen Few DJs really quick, because
You're on fire.
not only are they on fire, but if you look at their lineup and you look politically, quote unquote, you see DJs like from Toronto and from Detroit and stuff, and then you know that they book those guys in their cities. So then Chosen Few come around, hey, we're gonna come and book you. It's very much I scratch your back, you scratch mine. If I guarantee you, if that DJ didn't book one of those guys, Alan or one of those guys in that city, I don't think they would be playing Chosen Few Picnic. And that's okay, you know, because it is that exchange. So I think there's more of that happening. And I think that publicists are helpful, but I do think that if you have a good product and you put in a couple $100 of boosting that thing on Meta, you're going to get more eyeballs targeted to your fan base because of all the, you know, the analytics that they use in order to get to those people that see those ads. And I feel that these days publicists are extremely expensive. They want you to pay for them for 3 months. They're about $3 to $5 grand a month, and they don't guarantee you jack. They just don't. And then there's also less publications, right? So there's less places for you to be placed. And then someone like Fusicology, we're advertorial. So I don't necessarily want you to pay me to be placed in my, because we're so curated that if it's, no offense, but whack, I don't want to put it in there even if you're paying me a grip. So I think these days it's less needed, but I do still believe that if you're a higher level artist, that it's key to have somebody to represent you. But you have to be on that level to like need it.
For sure.
Yeah, we're definitely talking some high-level stuff here. So if you're just starting out, how do you get your tracks, you know, playlisted by a DJ, or how do you just get yourself known within the scene?
Well,
Go ahead.
well, I mean, the best way to go about that is to support whoever you want to support you. That's the easiest way. If you want to go out and you want to play a party, don't you dare jump in that dude's inbox or that lady's inbox without going to that party and supporting that party and paying that cover and buying a drink. You know, that's really how you do it, you know, and when you play somebody's track from a label that you want to be on and you send them a video, yo, I rinsed your track, you know, that's the quickest way. Like you said, you scratch my back, I'll scratch yours, and people are more inclined to do that because we are building a community here. And the more community that we have, you know, people want to come up together. Anybody that's out here trying to do it alone has the wrong idea of the game. You know, it's best to find a group of people that you drive with and you guys work towards a common goal together. You know, find people that are in your same capacity, starting out like you are. You guys support each other's tracks. You guys support each other's parties. You guys book each other. You know what I mean? Like when I was starting, I remember trying to get you know, tracks signed all the time by other people, right? And nobody really wanted to put our music out. We were doing something that felt a little bit different than everybody, maybe a little too forward, right? So labels kept turning our shit down, turning it down, turning it down, turning it down. I got a gang of buddies together and we went and opened our own label and we started releasing our own music. We started playing our own music. The more you play it, you know, the more your little community plays it, the more people are going, hey, how can I get that? How can I download that? You know, you got to build your own buzz and build your own backing kind of thing.
Got it.
So I kind of look at it a little differently. I mean, I look at it, you know, scratch my back, scratch your back, but I also think that everybody's accessible now. So I think it's not a problem to, you know, if you see DJs that you know, that you follow, that you think are, you know, they may not be able to scratch your back at the moment as much as them being able to, you know, you've been able to scratch your back, or, you know, you give them some material. If they like it, they support it. So I'm a big advocate of new artists, you know. So I'm always looking for new artists. I go to networking events. You know, I have an artist now and what I do. So my thinking is always, I have a certain position in the industry. And if I like somebody, that I take it as me first and them, support them. So like I have a group that I manage in the UK. So I met him at some networking event. I just thought the music was cool. It's not house music. And it's emotional music. So I said, well, let me see how I can work with them, take their music to a certain place. And I walk in first as Joe Smooth, and I'm bringing this artist with me. I may do some mixes on it. I may use some, the music lends itself for me to like drum and bass. So a friend of mine, Jumping Jack Frost, I don't know if you know who he is, but he's like one of the guys who started drum and bass in the UK, and brought him on board. So this artist has no real following or anything like that, but I just believe that they have a strong enough talent to, if it's developed and presented in the right fashion, that it could have some, get some traction. So they ended up getting one of their singles on Core, which is Tomorrowland had its own label. So now, and this is just recent, so it's just coming out. I have to do some work with a group called Crank, and so Tomorrowland put it in their editorial, their Spotify editorial, and so they're getting some editorial play. And I just think there's a lot of good new talent that needs support, and I don't mind being a support base for new talent.
Great. You're looking for new artists.
Yeah, but one thing that I think needs to be highlighted, Joe, is that you met them at like a networking event, and like it's important that you put yourself in those positions or you put yourself in those places so that you can be picked up by somebody who can, advance your career and put you in those right rooms. Just straight firing out a DM to somebody like, yo, check out my track.
Oh, no, I do that too.
That shit rubs me the wrong way. And I think it rubs a lot of people the wrong way. You know what I mean? There's tact to what you're doing and there's taste to it. If you're just firing a track, think about how many people fire tracks. I have an auto response on all of my accounts now because so many people send me just a track. Half of them I'm never going to listen to. But somebody that makes a real effort to make a connection with me or to show up to one of my shows, then I'm going to listen to it. Or is at a networking event and says, hey, I sought you out, I would love to connect with you, then I'm going to listen to it. Then I'm going to be like, if it's good, then I'm going to be like, yo, Joe Smooth, yo, Derek, yo, you know what I'm saying? Like, these kids got it, let's go. You know what I mean? So just highlighting, putting yourself in the right positions and using tact when you're doing that.
Just to build on that, that's the key thing, tact. I think there's one thing to DM you with a song, but if you see the person's seen it and then they don't respond, don't keep DM, block your ass, you know what I'm saying? So I think there's a way of doing it, but I also think that you should look at the way that individual is sourcing their content. Like maybe he's more into it, and maybe, for me, it's like, why don't you email us? Or maybe there's a form on your website. Like, I think everyone's got sort of a system, I don't like when people DM me.
People's time.
Absolutely.
So, Asya, we've all been in the industry a while. Is there anything you wish you'd known when you started? Any mistakes that you learned from?
Yeah, always. I'm gonna just say this. I mean, I'm typically like the chick, right? And I do know that there's a lot more women DJs and producers and people in the music industry now than ever, but it's still like such a minuscule percentage. And I know that's not the exact question, but I kind of almost wish that like there was a way to, like, I'm part of Women in Music and all these organizations, but I kind of wish I knew now what I do. You know what I'm trying to say. Sorry, it's been a long flight, long day. I wish I knew now. Okay, anyways, you guys know what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
Thank you, my bad. But I kind of wish that I was more involved in the community and organizations. I sort of did it on my own. I'm an only child, and I sort of just like, and I didn't ask for a lot, and there were things that I learned the hard way that I probably could have learned a little bit in events like this and more of a network and a family and a tribe. But I also, to give myself grace, there was just less of it available. Like, there was less of an online community, there were less women, and it was just sort of like me and a bunch of dudes for a long time. So there's that, definitely. One other thing is, I feel that, to touch on what you said, it's how to relate to other people and how to build community. Again, I feel like I did too much on my own when I probably could have been reaching out to people, but I was like, no, I'm gonna build this niche platform and let's do this, and I'm gonna have my own developers and everything without kind of consulting with other people, maybe not starting from scratch and white labeling it. I definitely wouldn't do that if I had that opportunity to kind of redo it. But that was 20 years ago, so
Yeah.
that was a lifetime ago. So that's,
Yeah.
definitely.
Joe, any
I would
mistakes?
say, not really mistakes, but, it's really important to have a good team around you. So, they always say teamwork makes the dream work, and that's true.
Yes.
You need to, and like I say, understand that it's a music business, and so don't, you can be, in a, I don't know, kind of I guess a dream state about the romantic side of being in the industry.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, you got contracts, you've got splits, you've got agreements that need to be dealt with, and it's important that you do your paperwork.
Is it important to get an attorney? Like, what
Um,
kind of help do you need?
I would say it's important. So, I mean, I've been doing it forever, so I know all the bad contracts, good contracts, all this stuff. But it is important to have somebody who understands music law and entertainment law as an attorney, because it's actually different than regular law. So you can't just get any attorney. You need to get somebody who really understands where you're at and who is working in your best interest.
Absolutely.
Because that's another thing with it. Some attorneys, they may have deals on the back, on the back end with labels or management companies, other companies. So you really have to find somebody that you trust and to kind of help you along the way, your path in this industry.
Can I ask you, do you delegate or do you do most of the stuff on your own?
I delegate.
You delegate. I think that's one thing that I wanted to also mention is I
Yeah.
think that's the key to everything is delegation.
That was like literally the point that I was going to make, is like knowing when you need to delegate out, but more importantly, just knowing when you need to say no. Everything is not good for you. Just because you can doesn't mean you should. And just knowing when to step back from something and say, this isn't for me. You know what I mean? You don't want to find yourself in some bad positions just because you could.
Right. You don't have to respond right away. You can think about it. You can get
Oh
some
my God,
advice.
yeah.
Yes.
some research.
Do your research.
Yeah.
See who the promoter is. See who the artist is. Find out who you're working with before you just say yes. A lot of people are. It's crazy because like the industry. Like you said, you could fantasize with the romance about it, but there are people out here that are just out here to get you. They're out here, they're opportunists, and they're sharks, and they are looking to find the next creative that they can suck the life out of. And just because they have a larger platform than you doesn't mean you have to take that opportunity. I always love to tell people that you can say no to me now, but I'll have to say yes to you later. And that's the position that you want to find yourself in. Don't let people take advantage of you. You have to take a step back and really ask yourself how you feel about what it is you're about to do and what that's going to look like towards a consumer, somebody that doesn't know you, because a lot of times we make decisions based on feelings, and feelings aren't truth. You got to feel out who you're aligning with.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, I know we want to take some questions pretty soon. Do you have any parting thoughts while we're in the formal part of this panel?
Just really, if you're pursuing this career or being in the entertainment industry, it's just very important. Like I said, research, organization. Apply yourself, constantly apply yourself. You have to believe in yourself and your dream, or nobody else is going to believe in it.
Absolutely.
Like there's so much now that's available. Like right now, I've seen like a lot of the platforms where people can, post their music, sell their music, and I've got together with a team of people also, and so I'm working on a whole new platform called Major Label, which is like an independent app where you can do legal, your website. If it's a group, everybody can get their royalties paid through the app. Like I said, I just try to pay attention and focus on like outside the box what's needed and like what isn't there. So I've got Nora Usher, who did Spin Up for which Universal bought, and they killed it because they're not really in support of independent artists. But she had got like 500,000 people signed up to her platform. So she's one of the people who are helping with the platform. The CEO from AWOL is involved. All these people have gotten out of these platforms that they put together for the major labels because they just don't want to deal with what the majors put them through. And so this whole thing is this platform needs to be like, stay independent, because, and it's just to give all the independent artists all the resources they need, in one spot to be able to, to get to the next level. I think I'm about leveling the playing field,
Great, thank you. Asya, I know you've got musicology. Do you want to speak to that?
Yeah, well, we're, evolve or die, right?
Yeah.
I mean, but we've always stayed true. So I don't know how many people know about the platform, but I don't do EDM, I don't do indie rock, I don't do certain genres. I appreciate it. There's platforms for that. We've always stayed really niche. But the technology, the app, the site, never stay comfortable. You stay comfortable, someone's going to creep up and get faster platform, better looking platform, and we've been able to sustain because we're both very niche and people know, okay, we're going to go in musicology and we're going to see what's up in all of these markets, but it's going to be that soul, funk, jazz, soulful house vibe, right? But also the technology is going to evolve. So when I go on the app, that MF better be quick, it better be efficient, you know what I mean? So it's about evolution, and also I think staying true to who you are, but knowing that there's always going to be people coming up and supporting those people. I love new artists. A quick note is that we actually are skewing younger these days. I'm an analytics person. I look at my numbers every day. Why? Because people that are my age, I'm 44, our kids are listening to like the art, you know what I'm saying? The stuff we grew up on. And I went out last night, I think she's here, thank you. Took me to a party called Tribal in Pilsen. Woo, listen, it was nothing but young kids, young. And they were gigging, and the DJ I was like, how does he deep soulful Afro house. D-Rock?
D-Rock is his name?
Thank you. Yo, bang it. Support those people. I'm not going to be out here, but I'm still, we still dance and had our vibe. It's about sort of the evolution and then also staying, on top of things. You know what I'm saying? Not just like back in the day, remember back in the day. That's cool, but what's up right now? What's up for tonight? So that's the whole point. I think that's what musicology is all about, is what's up for tonight. Most people go to our site to find out what's going on within the hour of going out, not like 4 months from now. So I think that there's something to be said for that.
And, I'll give you a chance for a parting word here.
Oh, my parting words would be I just want to commend everybody in this room right now. You guys have all taken the first step. You're all showing commitment, and believe in your ability until you're almost delusional. Don't let nobody tell you anything different. Don't let anybody waver you. Believe in yourself and just keep taking steps. This is a major step. You're in the right place. You're at the right time. Just trust the process and stick to it.
Ashe.
One last thing. One thing too was, when I got into it, it was about what we were doing as kids, and what's very important is not to lose sight that it's really the kids that are, support the music.
That's right.
And they're your actual buying public. So pay attention to what the kids are into. They set the trends, and don't get complacent in where you're at, because
Of where somebody else is.
That's
or where
right.
anybody else is, because that's where you're going to end up.
That makes
Also,
sense.
it's really weird because Joe Smooth, all the parties that he was doing, I was sneaking in when I was 14 years old.
Wow.
And I remember him doing parties at Red Dog and Medusa's on Sheffield. And I would go in there and I'd be like, God, I can't wait till I can do this. And I'm gonna do it just like him, but I'm gonna do it like this. And it's just crazy to see. We got two generations here.
Right.
And I was inspired by him, and I came up doing what he was doing, following his formula. following what Dave Medusa was doing, following what Barry was doing,
Right,
Will was doing,
right.
and that shit still worked.
I snuck into Medusa's and Red Dog on a Monday night when I lived in Chicago when I was 19. Fake ID that said Canada on it. Just saying.
Okay. Well, any questions in the audience? I'd love to take some questions. You can pass the mic.
36.
We have 3 generations.
All right, cool. My friend and I were at Tribe last night too. We should have said hello.
Such a good party. Such a good party.
Yeah, so we're looking to like start doing our own event series as well. And two things we're thinking about, or I have 2 questions. How do you go about like choosing your venue? Because like we have our apartment, but like that's not our ideal venue. But also we can't just ball out on like a big like fancy place. So it's like, how do you go about doing that?
You wanna select a venue. Well, 2 things. 1, you're lucky. I just bought a club. Take my number. 2, you want to partner with a venue that believes in what you're doing. You don't want a venue to just take you in, use you to get your crowd, and then kick you out because you're not ringing $10,000 a night. You want to partner with someone. You don't just want to go into a venue and have an agreement. You want to partner because you're starting out and you want to develop something. And regardless of what they say, they need you more than you need them. There's plenty of people in the city that are willing to open up their doors to you and allow you to bring folks there. That's the bottom line. You're bringing someone that's not fucking going there, right? Believe that what you have is greater than what they do, and make sure that they're willing to stick by you in the process of you creating it, because it's not going to be successful every night. It's not going to be successful right out of the gate. So make sure you choose a venue that believes in what you guys are putting forth and is willing to stick with you.
Thanks. And my second question is, I feel like we have like a very eclectic like music taste. So I think like our top 3 genres would be like house, rap, R&B, and then like a couple others. But like if you're trying to kind of bring an audience and that's like kind of wide, how do you just find the people that are interested in all those things? Because like sometimes the music might not be the same like each night. So how would you go about doing an event series with an eclectic like music range taste?
Well, I personally think it all goes together. Yeah. I do. I really do. You know what I'm saying? I think that, maybe like trap doesn't go really well with like soulful house. I do feel there maybe, but even still, maybe so, right? I feel it's you do what you feel is right.
Yes.
But also if you're seeing that you're clearing the floor, you know what I'm saying? Maybe it's time to switch it up a little bit. But I do feel go with your gut. And if this is what you love, and then you've got a small crew of people, and then that crew, like your 10 friends tell their 10 friends, and then it kind of goes around, all of a sudden there's 150 people at the spot. So I do think that you don't limit yourself. You might want to experiment, but don't limit yourself.
Yeah, I think so. You just, it's something you just build organically, you guys have an idea of what you want, and, even if you go around to different places and you see what's happening in different clubs, you see the different audiences, you market to, if you're doing parties now, right, you got friends coming to the house and, how many people you got? 700, 800 people coming to your house? No.
Don't get kicked out. Don't get evicted.
No, yeah, exactly.
He gonna be like, they told me at DK's.
Right. But no, just just apply yourself to what you're doing. Keep pushing what you're doing. Just keep trying to do very exceptional events where you're going to continuously draw those crowds. So it's on you whatever you do. So you got to always put your best foot forward to grow your crowd, to grow whatever that audience is that you're looking for.
And don't skimp on that sound system. I know
Don't
we've all
skimp on the
read it.
sound.
Or security.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Oh, okay, we saw your hand first, and then I'll go to you.
So when you were talking about when to say no to certain events, could you talk maybe more specifically about what those outcomes look like of taking an event that's not so great? Is it just as simple as not getting paid, or something worse or less extreme?
I mean, I feel like that can manifest itself in a number of different ways. I mean, it may be not getting paid, it may be confrontation, it may be a bad legacy on them or a bad reputation. You know, it can manifest itself in a lot of different ways, but more importantly, you don't want something to leave a stain on your reputation. And however that goes, you know what I mean? Whether it is you didn't get paid one night and now you got to go up somebody's head, you know, like you don't want that type of stuff happening. You don't want somebody that throws a party with you and maybe you don't turn out as many people as they expected and now they're bad mouthing you around the city saying, yo, don't work with them. There's so many different ways that that could manifest. That's why it's important to have thorough conversations with people and make sure that you align with them, you know, your vision, you know, their energy, their intention, you know, so like a number of different ways, but you got to keep your ears to the ground for that.
One thing, I feel like you might have one, like create a manifesto for yourself. You know what I'm saying? Like this is who I am. This is what I want to do.
Yeah.
And disassociate yourself with whackness and just flow in your own, you know what I'm saying? And if it comes and it doesn't feel right, typically the gut isn't wrong.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. And are you a DJ? Yeah. Oh, a producer and a DJ. So I mean, and another thing I would do is whoever you're doing events for or playing for, I would always push to get some kind of a deposit so that they're making some kind of a commitment to you.
You preaching.
That's right.
You know, as far as you're making the commitment to be at their event, so they should put some kind of a commitment out to you, you know, also. So it helps you feel a little more comfortable about the situation. You know, it still may not turn out good, but at least they are putting you know, some kind of a commitment in. And I would also do, if you're playing for anybody, have some kind of a writer to let them know what you're expecting to be in the space that you're playing in, you know. It could be something with whatever the sound system, the equipment that you're playing on.
Yeah, set expectations.
Right.
Yeah.
So you know what you're walking into before you get there, you know.
But don't be too, like, I think sometimes up-and-coming DJs can have, like, a rider, and I'm like, chill, bro, you're not just going to get blue M&Ms, okay? Like, you know,
Don Julio, 1942 ain't on there, bro.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
All right, we have one more question over here.
Thank you all for everything you've shared. I've heard you all diminish the role of a team, while at the same time teamwork makes the dream work. And I'm new to the industry. I'm trying to enter at some point. You know, I'm not an artist yet, maybe one day, but I didn't know if there was a worthy piece of your team or a worthy entry point for somebody who's genuinely here to support or to help. Whatever the function is, you know, it does take a team to put on an event or whatever, and I understand that, and I will start writing labels or whoever it is, but I didn't know if, in your opinion, there's a worthy, you know, like, channel it this way, and that's
I'll say one
all
thing.
worthy.
It's all worthy.
Yeah, it's all
I
worthy.
would say, like, right. Well, for instance, I don't know anything about production, lights, sound, and I don't pretend to. So the minute someone's like, hey, we want you to be a part of this event, I immediately look at the scope of work, look at the budget, and figure out who is going to be a good fit to manage that. And then I don't micromanage them. I might macro and just make sure I'm copied on emails. But I feel that when you give people their jobs, so a contract is sent to me, I dare not to even, I mean, I might look through it. Joe sounds like he can do it, but I tend to just forward it to my attorney. So I feel like, you know, you can look at things on your own and assess it, but I do feel that depending on the situation and on the budget, quite frankly, you should definitely have people that are masters of what they do, because if you do it yourself and you take it on, something will happen where it's not going to be professional and they may not hire you again.
Yeah, I strongly believe, I think every position is worthy, whether it's PR or whatever have you. You just need to find your place, you know what I mean? And a lot of people are out here looking to give people an opportunity because they're passionate about it and they're committed to it. You just have to find where that place is. And that's really your duty, is to find that place. And if there isn't one, start doing it on your own some way. And, you know, as you
begin to master your craft, someone's going to seek you out. Someone will discover you. Someone will pick you up. Like we said earlier, the consistency is what it is, whether it's PR or not. Start writing pieces about artists that you like and putting them out on your own website and boosting those posts. Do it yourself until you get recognized. And someone is going to say, I love that kid's writing. I love the way that he speaks. Can you do something for me? Or in the same breath, submitting your stuff to publications that allow self-submissions. You just have to, don't look at it, in one way. Diversify. What does Wu-Tang say? You gotta diversify your bonds, right? Okay. You gotta approach things several different ways, and if that way doesn't work, try it a different way.
Right. So I'll tell you. So I had a dream that one day. No. So I had a dream one night that I was flying, right, and I was flying towards a tree, right. And so then the voice outside of this, just said, don't look at the tree because that's where you're going to end up, And so for me, it was just like, look around, on the other side of the tree, this side of the tree, look around and see what may be, because if you stay too focused, you may miss the whole picture, And just know also that the internet is your friend. YouTube is your friend. There's so much information out there. There's so many people talking about the industry, about how to be independent, how you don't need a label. And there's some really good information out there. So, I would just, put in a couple of terms, and sit up, during the day, night, watching some of this information, because there's a lot of good information out there.
And just to add to that, like organizations like Sound Exchange and these types of organizations really help on a national scale. And sometimes you can even get grants and, things that you don't even know about. So do your research. And also, these types of events are very helpful, and definitely follow up with people. And I think that, like for all the ladies out there, Women in Music, again, we're a 35-year-old organization. If you're interested, let me know. It's free to join. And I do feel that use those resources, and like he was saying, stay open, like focused but open to what's around you.
That peripheral.
Peripheral. Big words.
Any more questions? I think we got time for 1, 2 more. All right.
All right, hello. First off, I want to say thank you for taking the time out of your day and doing this panel. So I am starting to produce and DJ, and I would want to know if would you recommend getting an LLC this early?
I don't know. Sole proprietorship, EIN number, so you're not using your own social security number. Make sure you pay your taxes.
Yes.
But no, I definitely think you can stay as a sole proprietor and be just fine. I think some of those things sometimes are a little bit premature and sometimes a waste of money. That's my personal view. What do you guys think?
Yeah, no, I agree. I don't think you should do it until you absolutely need to. The only reason that I am an LLC is so I can dodge taxes. So, when you're ready for that, if you're not making money right now, there's no need to do that, but when you get to that point where you're playing gigs, you want your LLC or your sole proprietorship to be the one that's getting paid. And if you intend on copywriting anything early, which everyone in here
Should.
copyright your shit, because someone will steal it.
Ask at BMI.
Yeah, someone will steal it immediately.
Yep.
So, when you start putting stuff out there, when you're ready to do that, copyright it, so you'll need a sole proprietorship for that. But don't rush to get that done. That's all in due time.
Right. And when you copyright.gov is your friend, and you don't have to copyright one at a time. You can do it as a collection, so you can do 30, 40, and that's still going to be the same price as if you had done one. So, so it's good to do,
Okay, we got time
Oh,
for...
Ron Carroll in the building. What? Oh my God. What?
He's like, shut up, man.
just give him the mic. I'm just wondering, new needs that you might be seeing in the industry with co-creating with music, and
I don't know, anything to the future that you want to speak about, whether it's trends that are really getting momentum or new needs that are coming about that you see?
Well, is AI gonna like take us out?
Well, we're going to talk about it in our next panel.
Let's discuss.
Well, I'll say that, so I've been doing a lot of stuff in the game industry also, you know, with your video games and stuff like that. So video games actually generate more money
Yeah, they pay a fortune.
than records. I think they made like $16 billion this past year. So they're like 10 times as profitable as any of the other sides of like the music entertainment industry. And so that's one thing is pitching to like the game companies and, you know, to have like I do a lot of stuff like brokering for with Armada. They do EDM and a little bit of everything, you know. They also handle Kevin Saunderson's label, his catalog, and Hector Romero, and, you know, people like that. So like what I'm doing with them right now is getting them involved in the gaming industry, you know, because, you know, a lot of their artists can do, you know, you got your metaverse and, you know, different aspects of new technology where there's a different revenue stream. You know, that's one thing I guess we really didn't touch on here is revenue streams. You know, in the industry. For me, that's one of the top revenue streams. Me as a predominantly house producer, I watch everything around, you know. So a lot of the events this year that I've been playing, you know, maybe 5,000 people. At 9 o'clock, they're starting with reggaeton, right? 12 o'clock is house music. It's the same crowd, you know, but you got two totally different sectors of music. So I've been dealing with like, I don't know if you guys are into reggaeton or not, but the Ozuna and Lennox and Zion and those guys like that. So we're having conversations now about, you know, this whole, I'm doing a lot of what I'm calling house reggaeton. You know, I like starting stuff, so. So, like I said, it's, you know, looking outside, always looking outside the box, but being accessible or not, you know. And it's a whole different revenue stream that I wouldn't, you know, have been involved in. It's even like mashups. You know, doing mashups with people's music that's actually out there and approaching them. Like the Neptunes with Khalees, they had their Milkshake record. So I contacted them and used Promised Land and the lyrics from Milkshake and created Promised Milkshake. The Neptunes took 50%, I took 50%, created a new master, and we generated a decent amount of money off of it, you know. So it's just find different niches, different ways to maneuver around the industry because there are a million revenue streams.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much for that question. That actually is a very nice piggyback to our next panel in about 15, 20 minutes, where we are talking about the future sound of house with AI, sampling. There will be a lawyer here to give you legal kind of guidance on what to do and keep up with technology. But let's give a big round of our applause for our panelists. Thank you so much for kicking us off. This is kind of like the shameless plug moment. So where can we follow you, support you, any shows as, you know, we finish up here? How can we continue showing y'all love?
We're at Fusicology on all social, so it's like musicology with an F. Yeah, we have an app. Please download it. And we're turning 20 this fall, and we're doing a bunch of events in LA and New York, which are the two cities that we're celebrating anniversaries in. But I will be back in Chicago. It's definitely the birthplace of house. And thanks so much for having me back. It's really good to be back in the Chi.
Yeah, I'm just Don Brown on all socials. I'm around. I'm always producing events and always doing something. We got a couple festivals coming up, Arc Music Festival. I'm also the production manager for Green Velvet's La La Land, which will be releasing a Chicago-based festival here next year.
Yeah, you'll see me. I'm around. And thanks for having me. It's a good time.
Yeah, I can be found, so joesmoothmusic.com. My label is indieartmusic.com. And you can just, if you Google me, you'll find me online. I'm around.
Yeah, for me, it's gridface.com, GRIDFACE, and my social's on there and my latest articles. So thanks, everyone, for coming. This is great.
Yeah, thank you guys.
Thank you.
And don't forget your surveys.
Yeah, thanks everyone for coming. Please stick around for the next session that will be in this room entitled The Future Sound of House Music.
Thanks for listening to the Vintage House Show podcast. Please subscribe and share, and check us out live, WNUR 89.3 FM, Wednesdays at 10 o'clock.